The only real God is the one that you believe in. Start looking for the God in others. And if you find you're tuning into a wave, well then I don't know much about being saved.
Hello, everybody.
Welcome, friends.
Welcome in to another episode of Spiritual Philos-O-Chatter with the Joneses, and I'm Danny Jones.
And I am Samantha Jones.
And here we are to talk with you for another hour.
Yes,
and this episode is number 40.
Wow, big number 40.
And what is the topic?
This is mindfulness.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. This is an important one.
It really is. And I didn't realize just how important it was until this week, to be very honest. Like, it's not something I gave a whole lot of time to. I really didn't. And then all of a sudden the idea for this episode came in and now it all fits together like a puzzle.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm excited to get into it.
Yeah, me too.
But before we do that, shall we recap anything you have from last week?
Yes, I have a couple of things. I have from last week, we did the Winchester Mystery House. That was a fun episode. I really enjoyed that.
Yep.
And I know that people that listened to it weren't expecting us to take it from the standpoint that we did of kind of pulling it apart and
right.
stuff. But people, they were like, it really makes sense. You know, thinking when you really think about it logically. So one of our listeners, Sherry, she sent this. She said, another great episode. I've seen a couple of TV shows about the house, so I was excited to hear what you and Danny thought of it. As I was listening, I had a thought that maybe she kept building because she liked having the company of the workers, especially since you said that many of them lived there while they were working at the house. Thanks for sharing your experience with us. I think she did. I think she really enjoyed having
Sherry made
the work.
a great point about that. I think it, for someone that was kind of more private,
Yes.
maybe she still did kind of desire to have contact with people, and this was one way to do it. And one proof of that would be is the way that she paid those people, because she paid them, but they said like double the going wage. So
I think that there's like I don't know what you'd call it, but like with introverts, because I'm very much an introvert, people think that it means that we don't like being around people. And that's not it at all. It's just that we're more comfortable when we're in the presence of people that we know and we can be ourselves with.
Right.
And so I think that that's kind of how it was for Sarah, that nobody really knew who she was. And people on the outside didn't really believe it anyways, who she was. So these people that became close to her, it was, you know, a way for her to be herself. It was comfortable.
Yeah, I mean, all that really is based on, a lot of it's based on rumors.
Right,
so.
Exactly. She wasn't like, you know, a hermit or anything. She didn't completely stay to herself. It wasn't like that. She just didn't necessarily go out and, you know, make
as far
a
as
big
I'm
stink about
concerned,
it.
she was an amazing person for what she did, what she created, the legacy she left.
Yes.
Sad once again that society has twisted kind of the story a bit, but whatever.
It's what
still there.
We feel the need to do for entertainment purposes. I thought a lot about this, about, you know, as we've talked about, that I want to write books, and one of them being a book specifically about this type of thing, setting the record straight. Because really that's what I want to do with all of this, is just to spread the truth. Yeah. So doing these kinds of things, that's all we're doing, is just spreading the truth, giving these spirits a chance to tell their side of the story.
That's a really great way to describe it.
Yeah, I think so.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Sherry.
Yes, thank you, Sherry. And then this came from Nicole. I thought this was an interesting one. She said, just finished the Q&A episode. After hearing Samantha recite the Sally Field Oscar speech, "You love me, you really love me," many people, including me, remember it as "you love me," but research the video, it's actually "you like me." Yeah. The Mandela effect would be a great show topic, and to ask the other side. Keep up the great work.
That's a good idea, Nicole. Yeah.
Isn't it? We were talking about this a couple of months ago because I had never really heard about it. And it is very interesting that a lot of us have one memory of something and others have another. So, yeah, I think we're definitely going to have to do an episode on that.
Yeah, that would be cool.
So thank you, Nicole, for that suggestion.
Thanks, Nicole. Yeah.
And thank you for setting me straight, too, because when it was coming out of my mouth, I knew I was wrong, but I couldn't remember. I'm like, I swear it was love. Was it like? Second guessing myself. It was weird. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
So is that it for last week?
That's it for last week.
Nice. Okay. Well, episode 40 then, mindfulness.
Mindfulness. So I want to tell you a little bit about where my experience with mindfulness started, because a lot of the growth that I've had in this process, I didn't even really know what was going on, what was taking place while it was taking place. Mm-hmm. And when I first started trying to get into spiritualism and learning about my abilities, I redid my office and I turned it into a meditation room and got rid of a lot of my Star Wars stuff. Because my mom told me to. Yeah, I'm a pretty big nerd, but I'm still a nerd. I just have more crystals now. Anyways, one of the things I was told to do was to make a vision board. And if you're not familiar with what a vision board is, it's basically you get like magazines and cut out things that relate to like what you're going through or what you want in your life. So on this board, the whole thing is about mindfulness. And I remember buying the magazine. It was called like Living a Mindful Life or something like that. And I was looking for something to use, and I was checking out at the grocery store, and there is this magazine right there as I'm checking out in a spot it's not supposed to be in. At like, pick me. And it's all about mindfulness, right? So that's what my board is all about. And I never really understood that until this week. Cool. Until I looked into this. So I'm excited to kind of explain, what has happened along the way to make me mindful.
So the vision board, maybe for anybody that may not know, like maybe you could explain, what is that? Like,
so the vision board, what I did is like I said, with this magazine, I cut things out that pertain to what I wanted to do, what I felt I needed with my life. And so different things on this vision board were like mindful eating and living in a mindful world and raising a mindful child and hope and prayer and just different things. And what I would do actually every day with this board is I would do yoga and I would meditate, and I would then look up at the board, and whatever caught my eye was what I felt I needed to focus on that day. And it was always very accurate, building better friendships, all of these things. So that vision board still hangs in my office. And I've been thinking about that I need to make a new one because I feel like I've conquered a lot of what's on there, but I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad I left it up.
Right.
Yeah. I'll have to post a picture.
It's a great idea.
Yeah, it is. And that something told me to do the whole looking up at it and whatever caught my eye. That was definitely an intuitive thought. That wasn't something I read to do. But I actually got the idea of the vision board. I have a pet sitting client that she collects crystals. And in her bathroom, she has her vision board. And hers was just amazing. And I'm like, I need to do this. This makes so much sense,
Nice.
Yeah.
Great idea.
So anyways, let's get into what mindfulness is.
Okay.
So I took this from Wikipedia. Mindfulness is the psychological process of purposely bringing one's attention to experiences occurring in the present moment without judgment. One can develop their ability to be mindful through meditation and other training. And then Psychology Today defines it as a state of active, open attention to the present. To live mindfully is to live in the moment and to reawaken oneself to the present rather than dwelling on the past or anticipating the future.
Right.
Does that make sense?
I'm glad you read it, because I think some people might take it as like, well, I'm mindful. Like I mind my manners, or I'm respectful. That's not what we're talking about.
That's not what we're talking about.
So that's definitions are always great in these episodes, just for clarity.
Yes.
Of what we're exactly talking about, and sometimes definitions can have hidden definitions, and we talk about a little bit of that too sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. I listened to a book this week that I really, really liked. It is called Mindfulness, Stress-Free Living in the Present Moment by Barbara Pierce. And this book really explains a lot of what we're going to get into today, but I obviously had to condense it. So if you're interested in that, I would definitely recommend this book. It's to the point. She doesn't beat around the bush, and she's very helpful.
Right.
Something too that to point out is that this mindfulness, this isn't just like a spiritualism type of thing. This is something that science has proven is needed in society. Yeah. It is a Buddhist belief that's been passed down.
I think it's better for your health too.
It is way better for your health, and
because
we will
if
definitely
you're doing
get into that,
you're not putting a lot of emphasis, therefore stress, on the past or the future.
Mm-hmm. So one of the things in this book that was pointed out was that something that comes along with mindfulness is emotional intelligence. And I wasn't really aware of so much what this emotional intelligence was. And so I want to explain it a little bit, because it definitely makes sense that it's like we have an IQ and we have an EQ, and the IQ is the intelligence part and the EQ is the emotional part. And that's our social behaviors and how we treat people and how we process information. And for us to really, really practice mindfulness, you have to work on building that emotional intelligence. Mm-hmm. This blew my mind. I had never really even heard of this, but this is emotional intelligence is the capacity to be aware of, control, and express one's emotions, and to handle interpersonal relationships judgelessly and empathetically. So examples of this are gracefully accepting defeat. So if you aren't a good loser, this is something to work on for your emotional intelligence, that, it's not always about winning.
Yes.
Agree to disagree. This is something that if you have a high emotional intelligence, you prefer to do. Agree to disagree, because you're not going to get anywhere.
That's something society could work on.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
just people in general, but like society as a whole, globally, if that could be achieved more.
Absolutely. It's one of the things that, like, for me, I'm totally about, I'm not going to change my beliefs because somebody else is ramming theirs down my throat. It's not going to happen. Right. So I just, we're different people. I just disagree, but that's okay. We can still be friends. There's not a lot of that.
Well, even if you weren't friends or,
or whatever,
close,
live in harmony,
just exist. You're coexisting.
Coexisting. Yeah, exactly. Let's see. Having patience. That is definitely important when it comes to emotional intelligence and dealing with the mindfulness. And self-control. Self-control is very difficult for a lot of people in different areas. Like, I think we all have our areas that we can work on that self-control. Oh, yeah. All of these, nobody's perfect. These are all areas that we have issues in, we all have our own issues. But like for me, I'm definitely not a perfect mindful person. Do you know what I mean? Like, no. I'm still dealing with all of this, and I will. So when I talk about this, it's not because I'm perfect.
Right.
That's for sure.
No, we're actually helping ourselves.
Right. So here's some ways to help build emotional intelligence. Self-management. Learn to manage your stress and anxiety. I've really, really been working on this one because I have a lot of anxiety. I keep it in so most people don't see it. But I'm really trying to work on it and to listen. For example, when we were in San Francisco, we went over the Bay Bridge, and it's a fear my entire life since the earthquake that happened up there. I did not want to go over that bridge, but it was either go over the bridge because we were staying in Berkeley, right, or go back the other way over the Golden Gate Bridge. Yeah. So I took one for the team and said, I'll go across the Bay Bridge.
Good job, babe.
And the entire way there were signs for me that it was going to be okay. But I sat and I was like, I know it's going to be okay. I'm not going to stress on it. I'm going to relax. I'm just nothing's going to happen. Trying to, instead of hyping myself up like I used to, like, oh my God, here it comes. Here comes the bridge. I'm like, well, logically speaking, there's not going to be an earthquake while I'm on this bridge.
Right.
There's not going to be, something that's going to take me out. So I should just, that's kind of getting that mindfulness,
Right.
Thinking logically, so to speak.
And also the other part of is, I mean, Yeah, like telling yourself that or listening to those things
right,
that are easing you a little bit, right? But could you actually say for sure that an earthquake wouldn't hit while you were on it? No, you couldn't.
No.
But the point there is that you're in the moment.
Right.
You're not worried about the next foot, is it going to happen?
Right.
Or the next foot, is it going to happen?
Yeah.
It's just, you're just crossing a bridge. You're enjoying the view and the beauty of the creation of the world that we live in.
Yeah.
And, you know, God forbid if that were to happen, it would be terrible. But the odds, probably slim.
Yeah. That's something with this that I've learned is that when I get anxious like that and start thinking those crazy thoughts, that I have to think logically about, you know, I guess maybe it's better for me because I'm older and I can look back on my life and see all of the times that I worried about things and how they didn't happen.
Right.
And for younger people, I know that that's more difficult, but that's definitely something that helps me with manage that anxiety and learn to be more in the moment. Because like you said, once we started going over the bridge, especially when we came out from underneath, I was breathtaking. It was beautiful. I lived in that moment. I think you probably thought for a minute I was going to have a heart attack. I didn't really say much.
It wasn't sure, but it's the top one isn't so bad.
No, it was the bottom
when you go
one
back
we were
and you're
on,
underneath. But when you're thinking about it, what does it matter if it were to fall?
Yeah, it's all psychological.
Top or bottom, it's going. And you're both going. But I think when you're looking at odds, you're not practicing the mindfulness as much.
That's very true.
Because you're thinking, what are the odds in the future, whether it's a second in the future or a minute or the time it takes me to get across that bridge.
Right.
You're worried about the odds of what the future brings as opposed to
living in the moment.
I'm just on it, and when I get off it, I'm off it.
Yeah, I think this comes down to people, myself included, having to learn that whatever's going to happen is going to happen.
That is a hard thing for a lot of people in a lot of different areas.
Yes.
And this is the key, I think, to relaxing and sort of getting us that old cliche saying of like, stop and take the time to smell the roses, meaning stop and take a moment to realize what a gift this life is. Even if an earthquake came in a second and robbed you of the rest of it, it was still a gift.
Absolutely.
And it was still a good experience. Right. So some make it to the end, meaning very old, and some don't. But the gift is the same.
Yes.
We don't look at it that way, but that really helps you. I think this practice of mindfulness helps you to get back to the essence of your being and the gift that you were given.
Right. And it's funny you say that because that is the next thing on my list was self-awareness, which is reconnecting to your core emotions, which is what you were just saying. Your core emotions are not the ones that were taught to you by society.
Right.
The core emotions are your love and your compassion, and started trying to connect with those things, you know?
The true essence of your soul, your spirit.
Exactly. Social awareness. So help recognize and interpret nonverbal cues others are giving during conversation. This is another area that I have a hard time in because I am very much an introvert, and the more that I do pet sitting and the less people I'm around, the worse it gets. So I tell people, sorry, I'm socially awkward, but I'm learning. I'm trying to learn how to.
So it's tougher for you, you were saying, to pick up on people's physical...
No, well, yeah, I can pick up on their physical cues and things like that, but the social awkwardness of it is very difficult for me. And then once I start, like, you know, if you're an introvert and socially awkward, you start to think about, okay, now I look awkward and now I'm acting awkward and, you know... all of these things. So then you stop paying attention to what the other person's nonverbal cues are and start worrying about what an idiot you look like, you know. So these are things that, definitely help.
Part of that I sort of started to embrace. I don't know if that's just, being an artist or a musician, you know, you want to express yourself not just on piece of paper or with music, but outwardly, you know, how you dress and
oh, for sure,
how you look. And so I kind of sort of accepted that a while ago.
Yeah.
That I was just going to get that from people sometimes.
Yeah. It's different now too, I think, for us, especially with this gift. People look at me different and I can see it. And so when they do that, then I'm definitely my social awkward phase.
But that's awesome. That's awesome that somebody can pick up on that, whether they say it or not.
Right.
They can feel it.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. There's that's some serious energy.
Yeah. Yep. And then the last one on this list was relationship management. So working well with others, learning how to listen to others and,
right.
working with them and being a team player, those types of things.
That's been probably a big work area for me in my life is really, especially when it comes to trying to, lead in a situation, you want to do it well.
Yes.
And you want people to be excited about riding along this train.
Right.
So but it's a challenge because like anybody, you get disappointed, whatever, agitated. But...
Right. You have all of those emotions. It's honestly the part of mindfulness is just learning how to control those and how to change those thoughts. So some things here about mindfulness and ways that it can actually help you, because I don't think that we think about these things is that, first of all, you were saying before, it can improve your physical health.
Yeah, I would think it would.
Yes. It reduces stress, lowers your blood pressure, reduces chronic pain, improves sleep. It helps stomach issues. I can be witness to the fact that since I've started living this lifestyle and have started becoming more mindful of things I do and things I say, my health has increased. You learn how to let go of things and how to learn that your body really does absorb what you're taking on mentally and what you're saying to it mentally. And those arguments that you have within yourself or those worries that you have within yourself, they'll affect you in a way that we don't even realize until we start making the changes and start noticing how much better we feel.
Yeah, it's true.
Mental health. I mean, come on. If you start being more mindful and taking on these things, you how could you not improve your mental health? Yeah.
I think the one I stopped really when I started focusing on the private arguments I have in the shower, and I stopped doing that as much. Or if I catch myself doing it, just stop, that's a good way. It catches me, like, stop.
Yes.
And then I'm in the moment.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I'm not thinking about what happened 2 weeks ago and what's going to happen in, a week from now.
That is the key point, and I try and explain that, and I have personally used this method many times in my life and will continue, is that when you have one of those thoughts, whatever it may be, one of those intrusive thoughts like that starts the arguments in your head, you have to immediately push it out. I'm not doing this. I'm not arguing with myself for no reason. This is dumb.
Right.
Put it out. Think of something else. When there was a time that I went through where I had to do this every day, and what I decided to do was, instead of just thinking about redirecting my thoughts, I had a subject that I went to. So pick a subject so that when you do start thinking about those things, you can redirect it immediately to something else instead of having to think of something else to redirect it to.
It's good having a partner like you, obviously, for me, especially because I can get sucked into it and get, I don't know if it's competitive because I'm not really like a athlete by any means, but
there's different kinds of competitive.
I get a serious drive about things and want to go,
Yeah.
But it's good because I feel like we're kind of walking this path together. We're thinking about these things together.
Yeah.
So a lot of times you can, if I'm expressing myself in a way that's like, that's not a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
You could call me out. And then I realized, I was just ignoring what I was hearing.
Yes.
But I needed a human voice to tell me that, and it pulls me out and it makes me think about it and go, you know what, you're right.
You're right.
It's helping me not react to things quickly.
Mm-hmm.
It's sort of like, no, take some time to digest that and think about what you want to say. Don't react about what you want to say. Right.
That's exactly right. Through this whole process, we have had each other, but I have been moving faster because I am connected to the other side in a different way. And this is going to be my career. So I'm pushed faster.
Oh, yeah.
So that makes it easy for me to help you and to help like Chelsea, my friend Chelsea. I do the same kinds of things with her. But for me, who I had to listen to was the other side. I had to take what you take from me, I take it from them. So even though, you don't hear what happens, I'm still getting that kind of instruction from the other side. And it is important to have somebody like that because we can't all connect to the other side. Mm-hmm. So if you're going through something like this and need somebody to talk to like that, it really is a good thing to have because you can bounce those kinds of things off of them,
right.
Especially if they're kind of going through it as well. So,
but you got to be able to hear it. You got to be able to really hear it.
You do.
And sometimes it's not easy.
Yes.
Because as humans, we want to be competitive or our pride or our ego.
Yes.
Or whatever it is. But if you can really hear somebody that's giving you honest feedback, it might really help you.
You have to be willing to look at yourself. I think that's something that we're going to get into later, but getting into yourself and noticing that you're not the perfect being that you think you are and noticing your own faults is a huge part of mindfulness.
Right.
Because once you start to accept your own faults and that you're not perfect, you stop thinking that everybody else is perfect too and start accepting them for who they are, faults and all.
Right.
So.
And it's not a race to the finish. If you're working on things, I kind of try to envision myself as like a big blob of clay, and there's just I don't know if it's a sculptor or me hypothetically sculpting myself into what I want to be.
I agree.
No?
Yeah, we're all doing that right now. I'm really enjoying it for both of us to see where it takes us and looking back.
And I don't mean that just, physically. I mean internally sculpting and trying to pay attention and, to things.
But see what you were doing and what you are doing and what I know a lot of our listeners are doing without even knowing it is learning to be more mindful. Mm-hmm. So, let's see, moving on with this list, a couple of other things it says is mindfulness will bring you better focus. It will also make you more patient. It will increase your compassion. I honestly believe that once you start to see people differently and understand things differently, you become way more compassionate.
Yeah, that's changed for me a lot.
Yeah, definitely. And heightened body awareness. I do believe that this helps you to learn about your body more. I never really thought about what goes in your body really does make a huge difference in how you treat your body. Really, it's no joke when they say you are what you eat. I'll tell you that. So, okay, and then my next list is how to work on achieving mindfulness, which is really the most important part of all this. Now we've talked about what is mindfulness and what can it do for us, but how do we become more mindful? Really, mindfulness it's a form of meditation. So learning to meditate is very important. Once you learn to meditate, you get to a point where you can shut yourself down into meditation mode at almost any time. At least I can.
Yeah.
Where I can just, like, if we're somewhere and I'm in an overwhelming moment, I can close my eyes and I can relax and I can absorb it. And that's a big part of being mindful and being in the moment is that meditation teaches you to do that. Mm-hmm. So meditation is key.
Yeah, I used to kind of feel like, oh, it's not legitimate if I'm not sitting there lighting incense and legs crossed or, you know, yoga pose on a mat for half an hour. No, I can do that. I've started to realize it's just as important if it's just 5 minutes of just closing my eyes or walking out and looking at something that's pretty,
right,
and to take my attention away from this little life that's going on.
Exactly.
And look at the bigger
Right.
picture.
A part of mindfulness with the meditation is, like I said, you can do it on command, but when you learn to use those things together, if you're put into a situation that maybe normally would have agitated you, you can stop and take a deep breath, and you can reassess the situation in your head much easier and step back from it for a moment. Mm-hmm. That's where I think people are so quick to just dive into things. Right. It just, without thinking. Mm-hmm. The meditation makes you think more. It makes you more calm.
We're a reactionary creature.
Yes.
So the meditation slows you down and it gets you more in touch with your subconscious and less in touch with your conscience, maybe, if that's...
No, I agree. Let's see. The next thing that you can do, there's a lot of apps nowadays that you can even search mindfulness in like the, where you buy your apps, wherever you buy your apps at. And there's things that'll come up. But a couple of them that I've looked at that have high ratings are Smiling Mind and Aura. These are a couple of the good ones. And these combine different things. It talks about meditation, and it gets into different things with you, like journaling and all of the different stages of mindfulness. So if you need some extra help, that's definitely something good to look into. Would be one of those apps. What I had talked about before, mindful eating. Not just what you eat, but how you eat. This is a problem for me too, is that if you've ever seen the show The Simpsons, and the way that family eats, the way that that's me.
Yeah.
Like, I'll be done with my food before he's even started.
I remember when I first sort of realized that about you when we first got together, and I look over and I was like, I feel like I've had we've only been sitting down for 15 minutes with our plates and we're having conversation, a couple bites, and look down and bam, it's gone.
My brother's the same way.
Finally I said, do you chew?
No. I just assume it was something it's a learned behavior because my brother does it too. So for me, that is an aspect of this too. And maybe there's things about food that people have issues with, like how I eat too fast. So for somebody like me that maybe eats too fast and you slow down, you enjoy your food more. One of the things, like, I love Dutch licorice, okay? And Dutch licorice, if you've ever had it, it's black licorice with salt. And I can't eat it much anymore. It makes me very sick. People. It's delicious. Don't listen to him.
Yeah.
I'll pay you $5 to try it. No, I did that with a friend. She's been across the room. Anyways.
Good luck.
Anyways, I can't eat it much anymore. But one of the things I heard the other night while I was trying to eat a little bit of it was, why are you rushing through it? If you slowed down and enjoyed each piece a little bit more, it would last longer. Why are you in such a rush to get to the next piece? And to hear my mom tell me that, I was like, whoa. I never looked at it that way. Why am I in such a rush? What's the rush? It tastes delicious, sure. But I can only eat like maybe 4 pieces of it at a time. So if that's the case, why am I eating those 4 pieces in 10 seconds instead of in 10 minutes? Mindful eating. Yep. I never looked at it that way. But it is. Slowing down, enjoying the flavor, enjoying the smell, taking that time out.
Right.
And then, of course, there's the health aspect of it with the mindful eating part is that, we watched this show, I can't remember what it's called, with Whitney, the bigger
My
girl.
Big Fat Fabulous Life.
There you go. Yeah. That's the name of it. So her trainer, we were watching this episode, and her trainer was talking to her about how it's just important to, put the nutrition into your body to give your body what it needs. Mm-hmm. And my entire life, I've eaten nothing but processed, crappy food. And I've been overweight and I felt like crap. And I've now gotten to the point where I can't eat that stuff anymore. Right. And I feel so much better. And I wish I would have listened 20 years ago to the you are what you eat, because you really are what you eat.
Yeah.
It will change your life. If you can change your eating habits, it will change your life.
And it really does become a habit. It's weird.
It does. I used to eat breakfast. Yeah, like my entire life I ate breakfast. Not that I don't now, but I don't have to have it the second I wake up. Right. Like I can have my coffee and whatever, and then later on have a bowl of cereal. I'm not controlled by food anymore.
Right.
It's freeing.
Yeah.
It is, except the part where I can't eat the things that I love, but that's okay. In moderation. Everything's moderation.
Yeah.
Really. So what else can you do? Be a better friend. I really work on this one, and I know you do too. When I'm in a bad mood, I tend to push people away. Mm-hmm. And so what I've started doing is if I'm having a bad day, I will actually reach out to people and just say, how are you today? Mm-hmm. Are you doing okay?
Yeah.
You know, I have a friend that's pregnant right now, and she's a little bit high risk and a little bit worried. And the other day I was like, just in a bad mood. And I'm like, I'm going to reach out to her. And that's what I did. And it brought me back down. Mm-hmm. You know, just listening to other people. That's important.
I know like 12 steps, that's something they talk about, like being of service. If you're in a tough spot or you're feeling like you want to have a drink or a drug or whatever it is, go get out of your head and be of service. Go reach out to somebody.
Get out of your head.
That theme kind of runs through a lot of different arenas in our society. So there's a reason for that.
Yes.
So there's a healing there. There's a process that's important between two people, two spirits. It's important.
Yeah, absolutely. And also something to think about is not judging people, because we don't know what's going on in somebody else's life, just like they don't know what's going on in ours. And where, like, sometimes I'll forget to text people back, or I'm just an airhead because I've got so much going on that I really get spacey, and I feel so bad about it. And I've gotten to the point where I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry, I forgot. But a lot of people will take that personally, and that's why I feel guilty about it, because it's not personal. So if those types of things happen, think about it. Sit back and think, like, okay, maybe this person isn't doing this on purpose. Maybe there's something going on in their life. Try not to judge. Try and just be their friend.
Right.
And if you can't do that, like if they won't allow you to do that, then maybe that's not somebody that you should be friends with if they make you feel that way. Does that make sense? Like, if you know... So you got to choose friends wisely too, as well. Then let's see, protect your energy. This is important because there are people that will suck the life out of you.
I'm learning this.
Yes.
I'm really learning this because, you know, I have people that sometimes you love them so much and maybe they're, you know, I don't know, different places in their lives and things like that. But you reach out to them and you reach out to them and you reach out to them. And either the lack of communication back, or when you are around them, that energy, it's draining you, you know, and sometimes it's, you know, really close people, which is tough. Yeah,
they can be the worst emotional vampires. They'll just suck it right out of you, really. And it sucks because, you know, I totally understand. I have family and friends like that too, and you want to be around them, but if they just suck the energy and they make you feel off and they make you feel bad about yourself, how can you do that? How can you stay and have that conversation or whatever? I can't anymore. I really can't. Like, I try and just relax, but for the most part, I prefer to just remove myself from a situation. I don't want to deal with it anymore. It really, you know,
I agree.
It isn't worth it. You have to protect your energy. Be present. Live in the moment. Stop yourself when you have those negative thoughts. Stop yourself and say, this is the only now that I'm going to get. And I shouldn't ruin it with thoughts of the past or thoughts of the present. You have to stop yourself and tell yourself that. It's not
because the past doesn't define you. The past has already happened. You can do everything different from that moment on. And the present, I mean, the future hasn't happened yet. So if you're just focusing on like you said, this is the only now that I'm going to get.
It's not easy to do. And all of these things, I'm not telling you to do them all today, to be mindful tomorrow. But, you know, it's been about 2 years since we've started this. And I can tell you that I'm at a place now where I'm very thankful that I did do this and I have learned this. And if you start now, You can be in the same place that, a couple years down the road, you look back at yourself and go, wow, that person was I wasn't angry. I just wasn't peaceful. Now I'm peaceful.
Right.
It changes you, but it takes
I'm glad
time.
that I chose to want to start to do that in my life. Change myself, go back to sculpting. I've gone through periods where I do it and then I kind of stop.
Yeah.
Then I do it and then I stop. But I feel like I'm back in that phase but it's a much more internal thing for me now,
It is. You constantly change. Life is constantly about changing and changing that sculpture. It's like a clay that never, you never stop, like silly putty or something. You're constantly molding yourself. So, of course, you're going to change. You're going to evolve. It doesn't happen overnight, but looking back, I'm sure most of our listeners could see the big changes in themselves, and you can see that, you do make those changes, whether you start today or you start tomorrow. So you might as well start today and get a move on it. That's the way I look at it. Another area of this is like we talked about the diet and stuff, but with weight loss is if for most people, they want to lose like 10 pounds in 1 month. I'm just giving you, an idea of, you hear a lot of people are like, I'm going to lose this amount and this. I've learned that if you just realize that it's going to take time, if you do it the healthy way, it's going to take time, and you stop putting those time restraints and pressure on yourself, it will slowly come off. You have to just take, what am I looking for? The words here, be patient.
Yeah, I was going to say that, like, part of mindfulness is also being aware of yourself. Being aware of the present, but being aware of yourself, meaning, and you made a great point, is like, you can't do all this in one day.
No.
This is a lifetime. You're making a choice to look at these things and try to make the changes that you feel you need to do wherever it is that you need to do it.
Absolutely.
But most importantly is take it easy on yourself.
Yes.
Don't try to do it all in 1 week or 10 days. Do what you can. The desire alone is like your insurance that you're going to do it.
Exactly.
If you have the desire and the drive, you will achieve what it is you desire. And if being mindful or connected spiritually is part of your desire, you will achieve that.
Absolutely.
But you can't give up.
No. I'll tell you, I see the world completely differently now that I have taken a lot of these steps to pull it apart and look at things from a different side.
Right.
Just stepping back, not being judgmental. Right. It's done this.
And you can't let the cruelty of other people just make you decide to give up.
No.
You have to realize that that's not what this is about.
No, not at all.
This isn't about winning brownie points or, changing the world. It's about living the best life you possibly could live.
Exactly. Yes.
Peaceful.
Living your
inner
best
peace,
life.
I guess.
That's, I really want that. I want inner peace. That's really like of anything that I could have, that would be it, inner peace. And I'm getting there. I think we both are.
I agree.
Something else on this list that I really liked was connect with your senses. So for example, like we like to go hiking. Okay. So instead of just hiking and walking and everything, like for us, stop and just close your eyes and listen. What do you hear? What different sounds do you hear out there? Pick them all up. And then when you're done with that, you can even cover your ears and look, what do you see? Yeah. What do you smell?
Yeah.
Pull your different senses apart, because once you learn to use them more like that, you become more mindful of different things.
I think I forget like the smelling part as much, or even hearing, because I'm a photographer, so I want to go out there and I'm always looking for like, oh, that's so beautiful. And I'm just in awe with the visual.
Yes.
I do hear, I shouldn't say I don't pay attention to as much of that, because I love birds and that sound.
Yes.
But the smelling, I don't know if I pay attention. I'll have to pay attention more to that.
Well, neither one of us have the best smellers.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, we both have pretty bad sinus issues. So that was a good one. And then let's see, this one is walk mindfully. So like, that's another one, you know, I just used going on a hike, but I walk dogs all day. Instead of just, you know, going about whatever, pay attention to your surroundings, what's going on around you. Think about what you're doing for your body by getting out and moving it too. You know, it's like today I was walking Murphy, who we've talked about a few times, and he just wanted to walk back and forth across the complex today. And I'm like, it's Friday, Murph. I'm tired.
He knows it's Friday.
He knows, but he always knows. But he also knows that the exercise is good for me. And so pretty much tells me to shut up and just keep walking him. And, you know, so I do. And I try and enjoy it the most I can. But being mindful of what's going on around, it helps me to not strangle Murphy as much as I love him. You know, looking at the birds and the lizards and just, you know, enjoying our walks. Mm-hmm. Yeah, as much as he'll let me.
Yep.
This dog is the most human dog I've ever met in my entire life. So let's see. I can't read my own reading on this one. Accept that you really are going to grow. Telling yourself that you can do this, that this is possible, that you can live this mindful life and see things differently and feel things differently. You have to believe it. If you don't believe it, if you're just like, you know, kind of like weight loss. Well, I could lose weight if I really put the effort into it. It's not that much work. You know, you just take small things, work as far as working on yourself, one piece at a time, you know, if there's certain things you need to work on. And that really is a big part of this mindfulness too. Once you get to understand yourself more and why you do things the way that you do them, you can change the way that you do things, but you can also see why other people do things the way that they do. Maybe it really is. The whole thing is very eye-opening.
Yeah. If we all desired, this change as much as we desire the next new car or toy, this world would be amazing.
It really would. Something that I read was that research has shown that mindfulness can change the physiology of the body and the brain. I am a proof of that. I really am. And everything takes time and everything builds. But I truly believe that for us at this point in our lives, that this is what we're doing. We are changing our brains. We are changing our bodies to be more mindful, to be happier, to be healthier. And really it is. It's changing, I think, slow enough that, like, you know, when you do something fast, you rebound sometimes. Yeah. But I think when you do it slowly and it starts to become a lifestyle and you start to change, like they say, the physiology of your brain. Yeah. You don't necessarily go back to it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. So that's all I have for this. Wow. But I enjoy this topic. I think it's a heavy topic. You could pick it apart, sit here for hours, and
you could,
you know, different ways of being mindful. Right. I would love to hear some of, you know, our listeners' ideas on how they are mindful. And I'm not just talking about towards others, but to yourself too. Right. You know, being mindful of what you need.
Yeah, I think that's kind of more where we're going with this in general is in a personal level. But yeah, being mindful of others, of course, I think that's, we should. That's just about coexisting. And, you know, not everybody's going to be happy all the time. But no. You know, if you're going out of your way to agitate somebody.
Absolutely.
So.
Yeah. And you know if they're going out of their way to agitate you, but it's about how you react to them trying to agitate you.
Exactly.
If you use mindfulness and you stop and you think about how is my response going to affect this? I could choose to walk away from this argument and end it right here, or I could choose to fight back.
Which would be reacting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
and that does nothing for you or the other person.
No, it doesn't. So these are the types of battles that with mindfulness you learn to choose and learn to walk away from the things that aren't important. Right. And learn to enjoy the things that are and learn to live today. Yeah. Instead of living in the past. You can't change the past. Nope. And the future, can you change it? Of course you can. Yep. But it's the future. So work on the positive for today to change the future for positive instead of negative. and live today.
I've heard there's that old saying, if you have, 1 foot in the past and 1 foot in the future, you're peeing all over today.
That's a good one.
So
I never heard that.
Yeah, it's an important one. Sometimes those small kind of analogies help me.
It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. Well, that was good.
I think so.
Good job.
Thank you.
I like it.
I like the subject.
Well, before we say goodbye to all of our friends, would you like to share your page?
Yes. My website, where you can find everything you need to know, is SamanthaJonesPsychicMedium.com. Don't forget, I do have a medium circle coming up February 8th in Newhall, California.
Cool.
If you're interested, shoot me a message. SpiritualJoneses@gmail.com will get you a spot there.
Nice.
Yeah. And your turn.
Very good. Art, you can check me out, djonesartcollection.com. Or Facebook and Instagram at djonesartcollection. I just did Kurt Cobain, which came out lovely. I'm very happy.
It's one of my favorites. It's so cool.
I paid for an ad to promote it, and I got a great response.
Great response, yeah. I'm proud of Facebook for that. Normally their ads are like, wah,
yeah,
wah,
sometimes they bomb, but this one really did well. So stoked about that.
Yep.
Moving on to the next one.
Yep.
And music, we do have a show. I'm not going to say the date yet.
I'm so excited.
It's a little bit out, but I will be sharing it as soon as possible. But it will be happening very, very soon.
Yes.
So we're excited. We're gearing up.
Very excited.
Last night was the first practice to kind of absorb that. Okay, what are we going to play?
Today I was allowed to make an imaginary playlist.
Set list.
Set list, sorry. I'm not the musical one, even though I love it.
Yeah, I'm reaching out to the wife for some ideas because we're not going to play all 15 of our songs. We're only going to play about 8 of them. So
it was fun.
But we're really excited. Everybody's got good energy.
Yeah,
it's great.
It's going to be awesome. So when we can announce the date, we will, and hope to get some of you out there.
Yeah, it's about 2 months, but 2 months away. So
we'll announce it as we get closer.
Yeah, but you can check Gypsy Brown out on the web at gypsybrown.com. It hasn't been updated, folks, so if you are hitting it...
Yeah, we're going to work on that next week. I'm sorry,
that's all coming. That's all going to be changed, but we are there, and we're also... you can find us on Instagram at Gypsy Brown Music. So we look forward to being able to share that with everybody soon.
Yay.
And that's all I got.
Well, that's good.
Cool. Well,
fantastic.
We appreciate everybody listening to this episode.
That we do.
And spending some time with us, and we hope you guys have a great week. And until next week, peace and love.